Have you ever dismissed a health symptom because you thought it was just part of getting older? You're not alone. Nearly 1 in 3 adults over the age of 65 has diabetes. But shockingly, over 40% of them don't even know they have it. Why? Because many diabetes symptoms in seniors often masquerade as other conditions, or are simply written off as normal aging. Even more concerning, doctors miss these signs in older adults up to 4 times more often than in younger patients. I'm Dr. Vernon, and for the past 25 years, I've specialized in geriatric medicine, helping thousands of older adults recognize the true source of their health concerns. Today, I'll reveal 7 diabetes signs that are frequently mistaken for other conditions in seniors. Critical information that could save your independence and possibly your life. Before we dive into these critical signs, take a moment to subscribe to my channel. Each week, I share doctor-backed tips designed to help seniors stay sharp, independent, and in control of their health. Your future self will thank you. Now, let's uncover the first hidden diabetes symptom that often slips under the radar, and why catching it early could make all the difference. Sign number 1. Unusual fatigue and weakness. Many seniors and their doctors dismiss persistent fatigue as simply getting older or depression, but there's a critical difference in diabetic fatigue. When Robert, a 72-year-old retired teacher, mentioned constant exhaustion to his doctor, he was prescribed antidepressants. But his energy didn't improve. In fact, it got worse, particularly after meals. This meal-related pattern is the key differentiator. Here's what's actually happening. In undiagnosed diabetes, your cells are starving for glucose even though there's plenty in your bloodstream. Without effective insulin, that glucose can't enter your cells, leaving you feeling profoundly tired, especially after eating carbohydrates. A 2019 study in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that fatigue in diabetic patients was directly correlated with post-meal glucose spikes rather than average blood sugar levels. The simple way to distinguish diabetic fatigue: track your energy levels before and 1 to 2 HRs after meals for 3 days. If you consistently find yourself more exhausted after eating, especially carbohydrate-rich meals, this warrants a blood sugar check. If you're experiencing this distinctive pattern of fatigue, don't assume it's just aging. Next, we'll examine another easily missed sign that's frequently confused with common skin conditions. Sign number 2. Skin changes mistaken for age spots or dermatitis. At 68, Margaret noticed dark, velvety patches developing on her neck and under her arms. She assumed they were simply age spots. Her dermatologist diagnosed it as a common skin condition and prescribed a topical cream. But after months without improvement, a new doctor recognized what it really was: acanthosis nigricans, a telltale sign of insulin resistance and pre-diabetes. According to the American Academy of Dermatology, acanthosis nigricans appears in up to 74% of people with diabetes, but it's identified correctly in only about 20% of older adults because aging skin naturally develops various discolorations. What makes diabetic skin changes distinctive? Darkening skin that feels velvety or thickened typically appears in body folds like the neck, armpits, and groin. Unlike age spots, these patches may be slightly raised with a velvety texture. Another frequently missed skin sign is unusually slow-healing cuts or bruises. A 2021 study found that even slightly elevated blood sugar impairs wound healing by up to 35%, long before most people receive a diabetes diagnosis. If you notice either of these skin changes, especially combined with other symptoms we'll discuss next, request specific diabetes screening. And if you've ever spotted something unusual on your skin that made you concerned, drop the word "notice" in the comments. Your story might help someone else pay closer attention too. Sign number 3. Nerve pain confused with arthritis. Sometimes what seems like arthritis is actually something far more serious, and missing it could delay a crucial diagnosis. Here's an example. Eleanor, age 74, spent 3 years taking increasingly strong arthritis medications for burning pain in her feet. The medications barely helped, and the discomfort eventually spread to her hands. It wasn't until she visited a neurologist that the real cause emerged. A simple blood test revealed severely uncontrolled diabetes that had been silently damaging her nerves for years. And Eleanor's experience isn't rare. According to research published in the Journal of General Internal Medicine, nearly 70% of seniors with diabetic neuropathy are initially misdiagnosed with arthritis, delaying proper treatment by an average of 2.8 years. Here's how to tell the difference. Arthritis pain worsens with movement, improves with rest. Concentrated in the joints themselves. Usually feels achy, throbbing, or sharp when moving. Diabetic neuropathy creates burning, tingling, or electric-like pain. Often worsens at night, disrupting sleep. Typically affects both sides of the body symmetrically. May feel like your socks are bunched up or like walking on pebbles. Frequently alternates between numbness and sharp pain. Dr. Daniel Feldman from Johns Hopkins explains it simply. The key hallmark of diabetic neuropathy is its symmetrical presentation and disconnection from activity level. Action step. At your next doctor's visit, request diabetes testing if you notice burning, tingling, symmetrical pain, or numbness. Catching this early could save you years of unnecessary suffering. Up next, let's explore the most frequently overlooked early warning sign of diabetes in seniors, one that often hides in plain sight. Sign number 4. Vision changes confused with normal aging or cataracts. Have you ever needed to change your eyeglass prescription multiple times in a single year? This surprisingly common occurrence might not be about aging at all. It could be your body waving a red flag about diabetes. The critical difference: age-related vision changes and cataracts cause steady, predictable decline. Diabetic vision changes often cause vision that varies from day to day, or even within the same day. A study in the journal Ophthalmology documented that even a 50-point change in blood glucose can alter vision measurably within 40 minutes. For someone with uncontrolled diabetes, the fluctuations happen multiple times daily. Another overlooked warning sign is sudden improvement in near vision. While this might seem like good news, it can actually signal diabetes. When blood sugar rises, it can temporarily swell the lens of your eye, sometimes improving close-up vision, but for concerning reasons. Consider Richard's story. At 79, he visited his optometrist 3 times in 6 months because his prescription kept becoming outdated. What neither Richard nor his doctor realized was that his rapidly changing vision wasn't due to worsening eyesight. It was because undiagnosed diabetes was causing his blood sugar levels to fluctuate wildly, altering the shape of his eye's lens throughout the day. Similarly, Margaret, 71, told me, "I was thrilled when I could suddenly read without my reading glasses. But my doctor explained this temporary miracle was actually my lens swelling from high blood sugar." Action step. If you experience vision that changes throughout the day or from day to day, request diabetes testing, even if your eye doctor hasn't suggested it. If you're finding this information helpful, please hit the like button. Now, let's continue to our 5th sign that frequently masquerades as common age-related complaints. Sign number 5. Urinary and genital issues mistaken for UTIs or aging. Did you know that having diabetes makes you almost twice as likely to develop urinary tract infections? This startling fact from the American Diabetes Association helps explain why some seniors find themselves trapped in a cycle of recurring infections that never seem to fully resolve. Here's what happens. Elevated blood sugar creates the perfect environment for bacterial and fungal growth, causing recurrent urinary tract infections despite appropriate antibiotics, persistent yeast infections that don't fully respond to treatments, itching and redness in the genital area that comes and goes, increased urinary frequency or urgency attributed to aging bladder. A study in the Journal of Clinical Medicine found that undiagnosed diabetes increases UTI risk in older adults by 93%. Yet these infections are typically treated as isolated events, rather than symptoms of an underlying condition. What distinguishes diabetic urinary issues from normal aging is their persistence despite appropriate treatment. Having 3 or more such infections within 6 months should trigger diabetes screening. Consider Martha's experience. At 76, she endured recurrent urinary tract infections and persistent genital itching. Her doctor prescribed multiple rounds of antibiotics and antifungal creams. It took 8 frustrating months before anyone checked her blood sugar, which revealed significant hyperglycemia, the root cause of her persistent infections. Dr. Lily Aria, urogynecologist at the University of Pennsylvania, explains, when we see recurrent UTIs or genital infections in older patients that don't fully respond to standard treatments, we should always consider undiagnosed diabetes. Next, we'll discuss a frightening symptom that leads many families to mistakenly believe their loved one is developing dementia. Sign number 6. Cognitive changes, mistaken for early dementia. A groundbreaking study in JAMA Internal Medicine found that up to 27% of seniors initially diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment or early dementia actually had uncontrolled blood sugar as the primary cause of their symptoms. Here's how to distinguish diabetic cognitive changes from dementia. The key difference is the pattern. Dementia typically causes consistent cognitive decline that gradually worsens. Diabetic cognitive changes fluctuate noticeably, often within the same day. A person might be sharp in the morning but confused by afternoon. Symptoms may improve after eating something sweet, indicating hypoglycemia. Consider James's harrowing experience. At 81, this retired accountant was told he was showing signs of early Alzheimer's when he began experiencing confusion, memory lapses, and difficulty concentrating. His devastated family began researching memory care facilities, preparing for a future they had always feared. It was like watching my husband disappear before my eyes, his wife Carol recalled. But what confused me most was how unpredictable it seemed. Some mornings he could do complex crossword puzzles, but by afternoon he couldn't remember our address. This inconsistency turned out to be the crucial clue. During a routine physical, a careful physician noticed the pattern and tested James's blood sugar at different times of day. The results revealed severe glucose fluctuations were causing his symptoms, not Alzheimer's disease. Within weeks of beginning diabetes treatment, James's cognitive function stabilized dramatically. Dr. Suzanne Kraft from Wake Forest School of Medicine explains, the fluctuating nature of cognitive impairment is the key differentiator. When family members report dramatic changes in mental clarity within hours or days, blood sugar testing should be performed before assuming neurodegenerative disease. If you or a loved one experiences cognitive changes that vary significantly throughout the day, particularly related to meal timing, request diabetes testing before accepting a dementia diagnosis. This simple step could prevent years of unnecessary worry. Let's examine our final sign, one that few people associate with diabetes. Sign number 7, hearing problems mistaken for age, related hearing loss. Not all hearing loss after 60 is simply getting older. In fact, some cases reveal a much deeper problem. When Caroline, 69, began struggling to follow conversations, especially in noisy environments, she assumed it was just a normal part of aging. She purchased over-the-counter hearing aids and hoped for the best. But her hearing continued to deteriorate rapidly, far faster than typical age-related hearing loss progresses. Research from the National Institutes of Health confirms that diabetes doubles the risk of hearing loss in older adults. Even more startling, a landmark study in the Annals of Internal Medicine revealed that diabetics experience hearing loss an average of 15 years earlier than non-diabetics. Here's how diabetic hearing loss differs from normal aging. Progresses much faster, over months, not decades. Affects both ears equally, rather than one side more. Impairs high-frequency sounds first, making it especially hard to follow conversations in noisy places. As Dr. Christopher Spankovich, professor of otolaryngology, explains, when patients over 60 report hearing decline that progresses unusually fast or doesn't improve with standard hearing aids, we must consider diabetes screening. If you've noticed a relatively sudden bilateral decline in your hearing ability, especially if hearing aids seem less helpful than expected, it's time to talk to your doctor about diabetes testing. I've just shared 7 critical diabetes signs that are frequently misdiagnosed in older adults. Unusual fatigue patterns, distinctive skin changes, nerve pain mistaken for arthritis, fluctuating vision problems, persistent urinary and genital issues, cognitive changes mistaken for dementia, and accelerated hearing loss. Early detection of diabetes can mean the difference between living independently for decades or facing serious complications. According to the CDC, proper management can reduce complications by as much as 60% and %, but only if the condition is diagnosed. If you recognize 2 or more of these signs, I strongly encourage you to request comprehensive diabetes testing, including an A1C test that shows your average blood sugar over 3 months. If you found this information helpful, please subscribe to my channel. I regularly share evidence-based health guidance designed specifically for older adults. I'm also creating a full series of videos about diabetes management and prevention after 60. So stay tuned by subscribing, and feel free to explore my playlist, Critical Health Signs 55+, for more important insights into the health challenges seniors face.